Well, hello. I had to do a quick reference to Doubtfire. If you know, you know. If you're a 90s baby, you know. I haven't watched that in a long time, but I don't know, the thought of that yesterday, and I was like, when I hop on the mic, I want to start that way today. So, hello. I mean, I'm not Mike Myers. Robin Williams is just he was forever will be just an incredible comedian. So if you know, you know. But anywho, I'm here with a solo episode. I'm here with yours truly, Riker. You know, he's always got to be here with me. So my little man is with me. And we're going to be talking about a topic that I put out on social media to see what you guys thought. Like, were you interested in learning more about this? And you were. So here's the topic. We're going to dive into it. So we're going to be talking about, why do our armpits stink and what can we do about it, right? If your armpits stink now or they have in the past, you're not alone. Most of us can relate to that, right? It's a very common topic that it's a very common topic to relate to, but not many of us talk about it, right? So we're going to talk about it because we're different on this podcast. We are going to talk about the things, all right? So I always like to give you just the scope of where we're going here. We're going to first talk about what the cause is of smelly armpits. Okay, we're going to dive into the science there. Then we're going to talk about, of course, what you can do about it. And then we're going to end with my favorite deodorant brand. So yeah, that's where we're headed. So let's dive in, right, Riker? Riker's showing his teeth because he has an underbite and he can't close his mouth all the way. So he's showing you his pearly white teeth. Okay, so what is the cause of smelly armpits, right? We all want to know this. So what I need to tell you first is that in order to understand what's going on, we first need to know that there are two types of sweat glands in our bodies that are producing sweat, okay, that create the sweat that we then sweat out, right? That we feel. So the first one is your eccrine sweat gland, and the second one is the apocrine sweat gland, okay? The eccrine sweat gland covers most of your body and it opens directly onto the skin. Whereas your apocrine sweat glands, they a lot of times these are more common in areas like the groin and armpits areas, because they have more hair follicles, and the sweat from those sweat glands goes into the hair follicles, and then the sweat comes from those hair follicles, comes through the hair follicles onto the surface of the skin. So that is what we need to know first, because then the mind-blowing piece for many of us is that sweat is actually most of the time odorless, okay? The reason why we are smelly and we feel that it's our sweat, it partially is because bacteria on our skin starts to break down the sweat, and bacteria smells, so it's going to then make the sweat smell, okay? Now, for many people, sweat is not a huge issue most of the time, right? But there are people, for example, my brother is one of those people who is an excessive sweater. I would say that I'm probably an excessive sweater. That sounds interesting. I have not officially been diagnosed with that, but it's when you sweat all over the body, right? It's not just necessarily your armpits. It could be your feet, it could be your hands. It could be, you know, like around your neck area, all over your body, right? Even your torso area. So I would say I probably am an excessive sweater, but people who are officially diagnosed with this, there are treatments that you can do and such. And those people have a condition that's classified as hyperhidrosis, okay? So if that's you, that's something you probably want to go check with your doctor on and see if they can, you know, dive into that deeper for you and see if actually you do have that as an issue in your body. And, you know, potentially you can talk about the different steps and the different options you have for supporting your body if that is something that's bringing you a lot of anxiety or uncomfortability when you're around people. So, yeah, that would be something I definitely would chat with my doctor about if I were you and I was concerned about that. Now, we're going to dive into what we can actually do about it, because what's the cause? There it is. It's the fact that we have bacteria, most of us on our body, both good and bad bacteria, but that not so great bacteria is going to break down your sweat, and if you're sweating a lot, it's going to make you smell a lot, right? So what can we do to help ourselves with that is the next question, right? So there are several things I'm going to share with you that you can do. And then, like I said, we're going to wrap this up with my personal favorite deodorant brand, and I'll share with you a couple of reasons why that is. All right. So the first thing is, make sure to wash your body daily with soap. Okay. And it's especially crucial to take a shower versus get in a bath. I am not someone, I have a bathtub. I never use it because I am not someone who likes to soak myself in my own filth. Like that's what that's what I feel that is, right? And some people will disagree with me on that, and that's totally fine. But after about the age of 5, I don't remember exactly when it was, but like I stopped taking baths and I started taking showers. And that is honestly the best thing you can do for your body and for cleaning your body, because when you take a bath, you are shedding off all the grime and crud of your body, and then you're just sitting in it, right? So then it naturally gets reattached to your body when you come out of the bath. Even if you've got soap and suds and, all the bubble bath things, you're still not as clean as you would be if you took a shower. So making sure that you are washing your body daily is really important. And especially making sure that you are cleaning those areas that have hair follicles, like our armpits, right? Like you're cleaning very well, because if not, your armpits are going to stink even more if you're not cleaning your armpits, right? With soap and water and rinsing that. So that's just really important, is to make sure that like when you're getting a shower, you're cleaning yourself thoroughly. And I know that seems basic, but when you're in a rush and you're trying to quickly get a shower, you could potentially not do a solid job of cleaning your body. And so I just want to remind you of that. Now, the next thing would be to wear loose fitting clothing, and specifically we want to wear breathable fabrics. Okay. I do not like wearing things that make me feel just like claustrophobic, right? Like those fabrics, when you put them on, you're like, I can't breathe. Like I literally can't breathe. So wearing things that are like cotton based, linen based, and those moisture wicking fabrics, those are going to be key, especially in the summer months, because it's hot outside and you're going to naturally sweat because of that. And so if your body can re-regulate itself more often because you're wearing these breathable fabrics, that's going to really support hopefully decreasing the amount of sweat that you're going to experience. Okay. The next thing is removing hair. So shaving or waxing is super important, because when cleaning is going to be more effective when our skin is smooth. So like when I was talking about like washing your armpits, right? If your armpits are smooth, it's going to be easier to clean them, right? Because the bacteria, the odor attaches to the hair follicles, and then that's where we get that smell that comes from the hair follicles being inundated or immersed in that stench of that bacteria. Okay. Next thing would be to relieve stress. Okay. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to relieve stress? Everyday life is stressful, right? We're always constantly as human beings stressed. Like, how can we not? Okay. And to that, I would say, yes, is stress a natural part of life? It sure is. But should you be chronically stressed all the time, every second, every minute of the day? No. And so we want to make sure that we are instilling and implementing stress relieving practices into our day. I'm not going to give you a recommended list of things, to do, because as you've heard me share before, everybody's different, right? So what may work for me may not work for you, right? And what may work for you may not work for your best friend, and so on and so forth. So, what I would recommend to you is to look into, just Google stress relieving practices. Breath work is one of those things, moving your body is one of those things, going into a sauna, taking a walk with a friend or with a family member or by yourself, listening to music, dancing. I mean, those are just a handful of things that you can do. What are you doing to me? I don't know. Riker's licking my shorts. Clearly I must have dropped something on it and now he's really enjoying it. But, uh, you know, whatever you choose to do that truly helps you in relieving stress, that's what works, right? And there's no right or wrong way to go about that. So when we help to relieve stress in our body, not only do we mentally feel better, right? When you're less stressed, when you've done something that you're like, wow, I feel so much better. I feel so much less stressed. You feel that, right? You feel that in your body, maybe even physically too. But when you do that, you're also helping your body to reduce the amount of sweat. Because if you've ever experienced, let's say, even going into a job interview. I mean, I had several job interviews this past year. That I was like so close to getting the job. And every one of those interviews that I went into, I, was thinking about, gosh, I am sweating profusely. Like I would come out of those interviews, uh, you know, having like the armpits of my shirts would be like soaked, right? My torso would be sweating, it'd be so hot. Um, but it's because I was naturally stressed. Like, did I come off very confident and comfortable in the interview? Yeah, because that is one of my strong suits. I'm a really good interviewer. Um, but I, I know that I was highly stressed because I could feel it in my body. There were other bodily cues that I'm not going to get into that I could also that helped me to identify that I was stressed going into those interviews and during and a little bit after the interviews. But then ultimately, like I said, I would walk away from those interviews being drenched with sweat. Now, most of them, thankfully, were virtual, so they could, see that I was sweating, but still, stress is a natural part of our life. And so again, in that case, me interviewing for jobs, that's not, maybe that is not going to go away for me, but there are things I can do before interviews. There are things I can do just in stressful situations in general that I can do to support my body in feeling a little less stressed. So I don't want you to think when I say, reducing stress, I mean completely get rid of it, because that's not a reality. But if we can lower or reduce the amount of stress we're feeling, that's super important. Okay. And that'll also help you to reduce the amount of sweat that you are experiencing. All right. And then I want to take a little side tangent. So that was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that I'm sharing with you that you could do to support your body in terms of helping it to just naturally produce less sweat. But what I also want to talk about too is this piece about aluminum, because you see on a lot of deodorants that say they're aluminum free, right? And that's a big thing now, is like to have deodorant that is aluminum free. What I want to tell you is that deodorants are naturally made without aluminum, okay? Antiperspirants are what are made with aluminum oftentimes, okay? And from my research, there's no way to get rid of aluminum from an antiperspirant, because the difference between a deodorant and an antiperspirant is a deodorant is a deodorizer, right? It's reducing the odor, the smell. An antiperspirant is saying that it's not allowing you to perspire, right? It's cutting off the action of sweating. So what it's doing is the aluminum, it's actually aluminum salts. Those are blocking your pores so that you can't sweat as much, okay? Which is not great for the body, because then you're not letting your body sweat out those toxins, right? And there's also research that aluminum can be potentially connected to things like memory issues and cancers. So we just want to be careful in general when it comes to aluminum. So I just want you to know going forward that if you see a deodorant that just says it's strictly a deodorant and it says it is aluminum free, well, it should be, because deodorants are not made with the aluminum. Okay, it's the antiperspirants that would be made with aluminum. Okay, and if I were you, I would just opt to get a deodorant versus an antiperspirant, because if you get a good quality deodorant, there's not going to be a need to have an antiperspirant. Okay. Okay, so last but not least, I want to share my favorite deodorant brand. So currently I'm using Tom's of Maine. They're both cruelty and aluminum free brands, and so I love them for that. But of course, because it's a deodorant, it shouldn't have aluminum, like we talked about anyways, but I'm just putting that out there. So I love the current one that I'm using from Tom's of Maine. It is lavender scented, smells really good. It keeps me feeling fresh all day. It's like a green container. I should have brought it in here for this, but it's like a green deodorant stick. um yes, they are a little bit more expensive, but again, I'm in this next phase of my life where I'm ready to do more to support animals, because they're so dear and dear to my heart. I love animals. And one of my missions is to support them better. And so knowing what I know, that animals are often lab tested on for products, I don't support that. And so my mission right now, one of my missions is to convert my products, most to all of my products, to cruelty-free brands. And I have already done that with my, like I said, deodorant, with my toothpaste. I can't think of off the top of my head the other cleaning supplies. So my dish detergent, my soap that I use in the shower, my shampoo, my clothes detergent. So I've done a lot. Cleaning products in the house to clean the house, I've switched those also. You know, I'm very conscious of how the products are impacting animals, and I wish to support animal welfare for now and the rest of my life, because like I said, I am an animal lover at heart. So I know this went into a side tangent, but Tom's of Maine is an incredible company that supports just that. They're cruelty-free cruelty-free brand, which I absolutely love. All right, and that brings us to the end of the episode. So I hope this, as always, was supportive for you. If you have any questions, you know how to find me. And yeah, I am looking forward to bringing you an interview next week, so stay tuned for that. And without further ado, I'm going to let you go, but have a great week, and I will chat with you soon. Take care.